Question 1. A project team is struggling with frequent changes to requirements midway through sprints, leading to missed sprint goals. The product owner is overwhelmed with external stakeholder requests and often brings new items directly to the development team. Which of the following is the most appropriate action for the Scrum Master to take first? I. Escalate the issue to senior management to enforce stricter change control. B. Coach the product owner on stakeholder management and backlog refinement techniques. C. Facilitate a meeting between the development team and stakeholders to negotiate scope. D. Implement a formal change request process to document all incoming requirement changes. Answer: B. Coach the product owner on stakeholder management and backlog refinement techniques. The core issue described, frequent mid-sprint requirement changes and an overwhelmed product owner, points directly to a need for better backlog management and stakeholder engagement practices by the product owner. A Scrum Master's primary role includes coaching the product owner on how to effectively manage the product backlog, prioritize items, and interact with stakeholders to protect the development team from external pressures and ensure a stable sprint backlog. By improving backlog refinement, the product owner can proactively manage expectations and ensure the team works on well-understood and prioritized items, leading to more predictable sprint outcomes. This approach empowers the product owner and strengthens the team's ability to achieve sprint goals, demonstrating servant leadership. Remember, the Scrum Master acts as a coach to improve the team's processes and adherence to Scrum principles. Question 2. A large, complex project is utilizing an Agile approach, and the team is distributed across multiple time zones. The project manager observes that critical information is often delayed, and some team members feel disconnected. What is the most effective strategy for the project manager to address this communication challenge in an Agile environment? I. Mandate daily status reports from each team member to ensure information flow. B. Implement a robust video conferencing tool and schedule overlapping core hours for synchronous communication. C. Centralize all decision-making with the project manager to streamline communication. D. Encourage individual communication via email for detailed information sharing to avoid real-time conflicts. Answer: B. Implement a robust video conferencing tool and schedule overlapping core hours for synchronous communication. In a distributed Agile team, maintaining effective communication and team cohesion is paramount, emphasizing individuals and interactions over processes and tools. The most effective strategy involves leveraging technology for rich, synchronous communication while accommodating time zone differences by establishing overlapping core hours where all team members can connect. This approach fosters real-time collaboration, builds rapport, and allows for immediate clarification, which is crucial for Agile transparency and adaptation. Mandating only asynchronous communication like daily reports or emails can lead to misinterpretations and delay critical decisions, while centralizing decisions contradicts Agile self-organization. Prioritizing direct, live interaction, even virtually, bridges the distance and supports a collaborative team environment. Question 3. During a sprint review, stakeholders express concern that the product increment, while functional, does not fully meet their evolving business needs, even though it matches the sprint goal. The product owner feels frustrated as they had diligently prioritized the backlog based on earlier feedback. What Agile principle is most relevant to address this situation? I. Technical excellence and good design enhance agility. B. Agile processes promote sustainable development. C. Business people and developers must work together daily throughout the project. D. Simplicity, the art of maximizing the amount of work not done, is essential. Answer: C. Business people and developers must work together daily throughout the project. The scenario highlights a disconnect between the delivered increment and the stakeholders' current understanding of their evolving needs, despite the product owner's efforts. The most relevant Agile principle here is the continuous, close collaboration between business people, stakeholders, product owner, and developers. Regular, ongoing interaction ensures that the product backlog truly reflects current business value, allowing for quick adjustments based on feedback and evolving requirements rather than relying solely on initial priorities. This continuous collaboration helps to align the development team's efforts with the true needs of the business, fostering adaptability and ensuring the product delivers actual value. Remember that Agile values customer collaboration over contract negotiation, emphasizing constant engagement to refine understanding. Question 4. A new team member joins an established Agile project. They are highly skilled but accustomed to traditional, command and control environments. The existing team operates with a high degree of self-organization. What is the Scrum Master's best approach to integrate this new member effectively? I. Assign the new member a mentor from the existing team to guide them through the Agile process. B. Provide the new member with comprehensive documentation of Agile processes and team norms to study independently. C. Encourage the new member to observe the team's interactions and work for a few sprints before actively participating. D. Directly tell the new member how they are expected to behave and contribute to the self-organizing team. Answer: I. Assign the new member a mentor from the existing team to guide them through the Agile process. Integrating a new team member, especially one from a different organizational culture, requires active support and guidance to foster adoption of Agile principles and team norms. Assigning a mentor from within the existing self-organizing team provides personalized, real-time coaching and a safe space for the new member to ask questions and learn by doing. This approach embodies the Agile principle of individuals and interactions, allowing for organic integration and demonstrating servant leadership through support and facilitation. Simply providing documentation or passively observing can delay their full participation, while direct commands contradict the spirit of self-organization. Mentorship helps to cultivate understanding and psychological safety. Question 5. The product owner in an Agile project is struggling to prioritize items in the product backlog due to conflicting feedback from various stakeholder groups, all claiming their features are critical. The development team's velocity is inconsistent because they frequently pivot between high-priority items. What should the Scrum Master advise the product owner to do first? I. Insist that stakeholders meet and resolve their conflicts before providing input. B. Facilitate a meeting with key stakeholders to establish clear criteria for value and prioritization. C. Take full responsibility for prioritization based on their best judgment, asserting authority. D. Increase the length of sprints to allow more time for feature completion despite changing priorities. Answer: B. Facilitate a meeting with key stakeholders to establish clear criteria for value and prioritization. The product owner's challenge stems from unclear and conflicting value perceptions among stakeholders, making prioritization difficult and impacting team stability. The Scrum Master should coach the product owner to facilitate a collaborative session with key stakeholders to define explicit criteria for what constitutes value for the project and how items will be prioritized against those criteria. This proactive engagement promotes transparency, ensures alignment, and empowers the product owner with a shared understanding to make informed prioritization decisions, fostering collaboration. Simply telling stakeholders to resolve conflicts or asserting authority without shared understanding will likely be ineffective or lead to resentment. Increasing sprint length doesn't address the root cause of shifting priorities. Question 6. A highly experienced Agile team consistently delivers valuable increments each sprint. However, during the sprint retrospective, some team members express a desire to improve their technical skills in emerging technologies, even if it means slightly reducing their current sprint velocity. How should the Scrum Master respond to this request? I. Reject the idea, emphasizing that sprint velocity must be maintained to meet project deadlines. B. Encourage the team to allocate a small percentage of each sprint to learning and experimentation, incorporating it into future planning. C. Advise the team to pursue individual learning outside of working hours to avoid impacting project commitments. D. Prioritize immediate feature development and revisit the learning request during a project downtime. Answer, B. Encourage the team to allocate a small percentage of each sprint to learning and experimentation, incorporating it into future planning. Agile principles emphasize continuous improvement and sustainable pace, which includes investing in team capabilities and technical excellence. Allowing a small, agreed-upon portion of each sprint for learning and experimentation directly supports the team's growth, enhances future productivity, and keeps skills relevant. This approach promotes long-term agility and quality, even if it means a minor, temporary impact on velocity, as it builds capability and morale. Rejecting the idea or deferring it ignores the team's professional development, while individual learning outside work hours might not be feasible or integrated effectively. The Scrum Master facilitates opportunities for the team to self-organize and improve. Question 7. A project manager is overseeing a new product development using a hybrid approach. The initial high-level requirements are stable, but detailed feature development is expected to be highly uncertain and iterative. Which of the following best describes the appropriate development approach for this scenario? I. A fully predictive lifecycle for all project phases, with detailed planning upfront. B. A purely agile lifecycle from start to finish, with no upfront planning. C. A phased approach, starting with a predictive phase for architecture and then transitioning to agile for feature development. D. A series of independent mini waterfall projects for each feature, managed iteratively. Answer, C. A phased approach, starting with a predictive phase for architecture and then transitioning to agile for feature development. The scenario describes a situation where some aspects, high-level requirements, initial architecture, are relatively stable, benefiting from a more predictive approach, while detailed feature development is highly uncertain and requires an adaptive, iterative method. A hybrid approach that starts with a predictive phase for foundational elements like architecture and then transitions to an agile lifecycle for iterative feature development is often the most effective. This combines the stability of upfront planning where appropriate with the flexibility of agile for emergent requirements, optimizing for both certainty and uncertainty. Purely predictive or purely agile approaches would be less suitable for this mixed context. Question 8. During the daily Scrum, a team member consistently provides detailed explanations of their technical challenges and requests assistance from multiple team members, extending the meeting significantly beyond the time box. What is the most appropriate action for the Scrum Master? I. Allow the discussion to continue, as it fosters collaboration and problem solving. B. Remind the team that the daily Scrum is for coordination and commitment, and technical discussions should be held separately. C. Schedule a separate, longer daily meeting specifically for technical problem solving. D. Advise the team member to document their issues and send them via email to relevant colleagues. Answer, B. Remind the team that the daily Scrum is for coordination and commitment, and technical discussions should be held separately. The daily Scrum is a short, time-boxed event, typically 15 minutes, for the development team to synchronize activities and create a plan for the next 24 hours. Its purpose is not to solve problems, but to identify impediments and facilitate coordination. The Scrum Master's role is to ensure the team adheres to Scrum rules and time boxes. Therefore, the most appropriate action is to remind the team of the daily Scrum's purpose and encourage them to take detailed technical discussions offline immediately after the daily Scrum, involving only those necessary. This preserves the meeting's efficiency for all team members. Question 9. An Agile team has been consistently exceeding its sprint goals, but stakeholders express concern that the product backlog items are not aligned with the strategic direction of the company. The product owner insists they are prioritizing based on stakeholder feedback collected individually. What aspect of Agile value delivery is most likely being overlooked? I. Sustainable development. B. Working software over comprehensive documentation. C. Maximizing the work not done. D. Collaborative refinement of the product backlog tied to strategic objectives. Answer, D. Collaborative refinement of the product backlog tied to strategic objectives. The core issue is a misalignment between the team's output and the company's strategic direction, despite high velocity. This indicates a breakdown in how the product backlog is being shaped and communicated. Effective Agile value delivery requires not just individual stakeholder feedback but a collaborative approach to product backlog refinement that explicitly links backlog items to overarching strategic objectives, often involving more senior stakeholders or portfolio management. This ensures that the product owner's prioritization decisions are anchored in a shared understanding of strategic value, preventing the team from efficiently building the wrong thing. Without this strategic alignment, even efficient delivery can result in misdirected effort. Question 10. A development team using Scrum is consistently falling short of completing their committed sprint backlog items. Upon investigation, the Scrum Master finds that team members are frequently pulled into urgent production support tasks from other departments, leading to context switching and unfinished work. What is the most appropriate response for the Scrum Master? I. Instruct the development team to refuse all external requests during a sprint. B. Work with functional managers and stakeholders to protect the team from unplanned interruptions. C. Add buffers to sprint commitments to account for the anticipated interruptions. D. Suggest that the team members work overtime to complete their sprint commitments alongside support tasks. Answer, B. Work with functional managers and stakeholders to protect the team from unplanned interruptions. The Scrum Master's role involves removing impediments and protecting the development team from external distractions that disrupt their ability to focus on sprint goals. Frequent interruptions for production support tasks directly impede the team's ability to complete committed work. The most appropriate action is for the Scrum Master to act as a servant leader by collaborating with relevant functional managers and stakeholders to establish a clear policy or process for managing urgent production support that minimizes disruption to the sprint team, perhaps by allocating a separate support team or having a dedicated, on-call, person. This ensures a stable environment for the team to focus on their sprint commitments. Question 11. An Agile project is experiencing high team turnover, leading to a loss of institutional knowledge and decreased velocity. The remaining team members are becoming increasingly demoralized. What action should the project manager prioritize to address this issue? I. Implement stricter performance reviews to hold remaining team members accountable for velocity. B. Document all processes and knowledge in a centralized repository to mitigate knowledge loss. C. Foster a culture of cross-training and knowledge sharing within the team to build resilience. D. Hire new team members quickly to replace those who have left, focusing solely on technical skills. Answer, C. Foster a culture of cross-training and knowledge sharing within the team to build resilience. High team turnover leading to knowledge loss and demoralization indicates a need to strengthen the team's internal resilience and knowledge management. Fostering a culture of cross-training and knowledge sharing, such as through pair programming, regular knowledge sharing sessions, or mob programming, builds redundancy in expertise and distributes understanding across the team. This makes the team less vulnerable to individual departures, improves team cohesion, and enhances collective capability, demonstrating the value of individuals and interactions. Simply documenting or hiring new members without addressing knowledge flow doesn't solve the underlying problem of team fragility. Question 12. A new feature is being developed using an Agile approach. The product owner is highly engaged but frequently changes their mind about specific user interface, UI, elements after the development team has already started implementing them. This leads to rework and frustration. What is the most effective way for the Scrum Master to address this pattern? I. Advise the product owner that changes cannot be made once development has started. B. Suggest incorporating UI/UX design spikes or prototypes earlier in the refinement process. C. Ask the development team to implement all UI options so the product owner can choose. D. Escalate the issue to the project sponsor for a definitive decision on UI requirements. Answer: B. Suggest incorporating UI/UX design spikes or prototypes earlier in the refinement process. The product owner's frequent changes to UI elements after development has begun indicate a need for clearer visualization and confirmation of design earlier in the process. The Scrum Master should suggest integrating UI/UX design spikes, prototyping, or mock-ups as part of the product backlog refinement activities. This allows the product owner and stakeholders to visualize and provide concrete feedback on UI elements before significant development effort is expended, reducing rework and ensuring better alignment with expectations. This proactive approach supports continuous learning and adaptation, which are central to Agile. Question 13. An Agile team is struggling with analysis paralysis during product backlog refinement, spending excessive time discussing every detail of future features. This is impacting their ability to start new work promptly. What is the best guidance the Scrum Master can offer? I. Emphasize that the product backlog only needs to be just enough detailed for the upcoming sprints. B. Instruct the team to fully detail all backlog items for the entire project up front to avoid ambiguity. C. Suggest the product owner makes all decisions on detail level to speed up refinement. D. Recommend pausing development until all backlog items are perfectly defined and estimated. Answer: I. Emphasize that the product backlog only needs to be just enough detailed for the upcoming sprints. The analysis paralysis indicates that the team is over-investing in detailing items too far into the future, which is contrary to Agile principles of embracing change and working in short iterations. The Scrum Master should guide the team to understand that product backlog items only need to be refined to a level of just enough detail for the upcoming 1 or 2 sprints, following the ready or definition of ready criteria. This allows for flexibility as understanding evolves, prevents wasted effort on detailing items that might change or never be built, and promotes timely delivery. The concept of emergent requirements is key here. Question 14. A project manager is leading a high-risk, innovative project using an Agile framework. The team is frequently encountering unexpected technical challenges that threaten to derail sprint goals. What is the most effective risk management approach in this context? I. Develop a comprehensive risk register with detailed mitigation plans for all foreseeable risks up front. B. Encourage the team to identify risks continuously and implement immediate small-scale experiments to resolve technical unknowns. C. Transfer all technical risks to external vendors through fixed-price contracts to minimize project exposure. D. Increase the sprint length to provide more time for unforeseen technical challenges to be resolved within a sprint. Answer: B. Encourage the team to identify risks continuously and implement immediate small-scale experiments to resolve technical unknowns. In an innovative and high-risk Agile project, a comprehensive upfront risk register may not be sufficient due to the inherent uncertainty and emergent nature of risks. The most effective approach is continuous risk identification and proactive mitigation through rapid experimentation. Encouraging the team to identify technical unknowns as early as possible and then use spikes or small, time-boxed experiments to quickly validate assumptions or find solutions minimizes the impact of these risks and enables faster learning and adaptation. This embodies Agile principles of responding to change and continuous delivery. Question 15. The product owner of an Agile project frequently adds new, high-priority items to the current sprint backlog after the sprint has started, stating that business needs have changed. This disrupts the team's focus and commitment. What is the best long-term strategy for the Scrum Master to address this issue? I. Facilitate a discussion with the product owner and the team about the importance of sprint commitment and the impact of mid-sprint changes. B. Implement a formal change request process requiring approval from a change control board for any mid-sprint additions. C. Advise the development team to simply accommodate the changes as a demonstration of flexibility. D. Automatically adjust the sprint duration or scope to absorb the new items without impacting the team. Answer: I. Facilitate a discussion with the product owner and the team about the importance of sprint commitment and the impact of mid-sprint changes. The repeated introduction of new high-priority items mid-sprint undermines the team's ability to achieve its sprint goal and erodes their sense of commitment and predictability. The Scrum Master's role is to ensure adherence to Scrum principles and protect the team. The most effective long-term strategy is to facilitate a direct, transparent conversation with the product owner and the development team to highlight the negative impact of such changes on predictability, quality, and team morale. This discussion aims to build a shared understanding of the importance of sprint commitment and the implications of scope creep, fostering better sprint planning and backlog management. It addresses the root cause through education and collaboration. Question 16. A new Agile team is struggling to maintain a consistent velocity. During sprint planning, they frequently overcommit and then fail to deliver all planned items. During sprint retrospectives, they often blame external factors for their shortcomings. What should the Scrum Master focus on first to help the team improve? I. Implement stricter monitoring of individual performance to identify underperforming members. B. Coach the team on more accurate estimation techniques and the importance of self-organization in commitment. C. Lengthen the sprints to provide more buffer time for completion of committed work. D. Advocate for a reduction in the number of product backlog items to simplify planning. Answer: B. Coach the team on more accurate estimation techniques and the importance of self-organization in commitment. The core issue is the team's inability to accurately commit to work and their tendency to externalize blame, indicating a lack of understanding of their own capacity and self-organization. The Scrum Master's priority should be to coach the team on improving their estimation practices, such as relative sizing, e.g., story points, and understanding their historical velocity, to make more realistic commitments during sprint planning. Simultaneously, reinforcing the concept of self-organization helps the team take ownership of their commitments and develop solutions rather than blaming external factors. This empowers the team to improve its forecasting and accountability. Question 17. An Agile team has developed a strong rhythm, consistently delivering value. However, the project manager notices that key stakeholders are often surprised by what is delivered at the end of a sprint, even though they attend sprint reviews. There's a gap between expectation and reality. What is the most likely cause and corresponding solution? I. The sprint review is too formal, make it a casual demo instead. B. The product owner is not adequately communicating product vision and incremental progress, improve transparency and collaboration. C. The development team is not interpreting requirements correctly, provide more detailed specifications. D. Stakeholders are not paying attention during the sprint review, enforce stricter attendance and engagement rules. Answer: B. The product owner is not adequately communicating product vision and incremental progress, improve transparency and collaboration. Stakeholders being surprised by what is delivered, despite attending sprint reviews, strongly suggests a breakdown in continuous communication and alignment on the evolving product. The product owner is primarily responsible for maximizing the value of the product and communicating the product vision and progress to stakeholders. The solution lies in the product owner improving transparency through more frequent communication, engaging stakeholders earlier and more deeply in backlog refinement, and ensuring the sprint review effectively gathers feedback and sets expectations for future increments. It's about proactive and continuous collaboration, not just a single meeting. Question 18. A project utilizing Kanban is experiencing bottlenecks at a particular stage in its workflow, causing items to accumulate and increasing lead time. The team is highly skilled but struggling to identify the root cause of the slowdown. What is the most effective Kanban practice to address this immediately? I. Increase the work-in process, WIP, limit for the bottleneck stage to allow more items to flow through. B. Implement a push system to force items through the bottleneck faster. C. Swarm on the bottleneck, encourage team members from upstream or downstream to assist. D. Introduce a new, dedicated resource to exclusively handle tasks in the bottleneck stage. Answer: C. Swarm on the bottleneck, encourage team members from upstream or downstream to assist. In Kanban, when a bottleneck occurs, the most effective immediate action is to swarm on the bottleneck. This means that team members who are currently not at full capacity or who have finished their tasks upstream or downstream should temporarily stop pulling new work and instead assist with tasks in the bottleneck stage. This helps to quickly clear the blockage, reduce the queue size, and optimize the flow of value through the system, upholding the Kanban principle of maximizing flow. Increasing WIP limits would worsen the bottleneck, and simply adding a resource doesn't address the immediate flow issue. Question 19. A traditional project manager is transitioning to an Agile role as a Scrum Master. They are accustomed to directing team members on specific tasks and tracking individual performance metrics. What is the most significant mindset shift required for this transition? I. From focusing on detailed upfront planning to embracing iterative planning. B. From managing budgets and schedules to prioritizing stakeholder satisfaction. C. From a command and control leader to a servant leader and facilitator. D. From ensuring process compliance to empowering team self-organization. Answer: C. From a command and control leader to a servant leader and facilitator. The most profound mindset shift for a traditional project manager becoming a Scrum Master is moving from a command and control approach to one of servant leadership and facilitation. A traditional PM often directs, assigns tasks, and closely monitors individuals, whereas a Scrum Master's role is to serve the team by removing impediments, coaching on Agile practices, and facilitating self-organization, rather than dictating how work is done. This change in leadership style is fundamental to fostering an Agile environment where teams are empowered and autonomous. While other shifts are important, the leadership style is foundational to enacting Agile principles. Question 20. During a sprint retrospective, the development team identifies a recurring issue. They frequently spend excessive time resolving technical debt that accumulates each sprint, impacting their ability to deliver new features. What action should the Scrum Master guide the team to consider? I. Allocate a dedicated technical debt sprint once a quarter to address all accumulated issues. B. Advocate for the product owner to prioritize technical debt items alongside new features in the product backlog. C. Implement stricter code reviews to prevent technical debt from being introduced in the first place. D. Advise the team to ignore technical debt temporarily and focus solely on new feature delivery to boost velocity. Answer: B. Advocate for the product owner to prioritize technical debt items alongside new features in the product backlog. Accumulating technical debt slows down development and reduces the long-term sustainability and quality of the product, contradicting the Agile principle of technical excellence. The most effective approach is to make technical debt transparent and visible, and then integrate its resolution into the regular product backlog. The Scrum Master should coach the product owner on the importance of addressing technical debt and help the team articulate its impact on future feature delivery, enabling the product owner to prioritize technical debt items alongside new features based on their impact on value and long-term maintainability. This ensures that the team continuously manages and reduces debt, rather than allowing it to accumulate. Question 21. A project manager is tasked with establishing a new Agile project. The organization has limited prior experience with Agile, and there is significant resistance from functional managers who fear losing control over their resources. What is the project manager's best approach to build support for Agile adoption? I. Insist on a Big Bang adoption of Agile across all departments to demonstrate its benefits quickly. B. Partner with a willing functional manager and start with a small pilot project to demonstrate early successes and benefits. C. Develop a detailed business case highlighting the ROI of Agile and present it to senior leadership for a mandate. D. Provide comprehensive Agile training to all functional managers, expecting them to embrace the change. Answer: B. Partner with a willing functional manager and start with a small pilot project to demonstrate early successes and benefits. When introducing Agile into an organization with resistance, a Big Bang approach can be overwhelming and lead to failure. The most effective strategy is to start small with a pilot project, ideally with a supportive functional manager, to demonstrate tangible successes and build internal champions. This allows the organization to learn, adapt, and see the practical benefits of Agile, which can then be scaled. Success stories from a pilot project are far more convincing than theoretical business cases or training alone, helping to overcome resistance through real-world validation. Question 22. In an Agile project, a team member consistently misses deadlines for their individual tasks, impacting the sprint goal. The team has discussed this in daily scrums and retrospectives, but the pattern continues. What is the most appropriate next step for the Scrum Master? I. Escalate the individual's performance issue to their functional manager for disciplinary action. B. Reassign the problematic team member to a less critical role or project. C. Coach the team member individually to understand underlying issues and explore potential solutions or training. D. Increase the sprint length to provide more time for the individual to complete their tasks. Answer: C. Coach the team member individually to understand underlying issues and explore potential solutions or training. When a team member consistently struggles despite team discussions, the Scrum Master should take a coaching approach to understand the root cause of the impediment. This involves a private, one-on-one conversation to explore personal challenges, skill gaps, workload issues, or other factors that might be contributing to the missed deadlines. The Scrum Master's role is to facilitate the team's improvement, and individual coaching can help identify specific needs for training, mentorship, or adjustments in how work is assigned, ultimately benefiting the entire team. Escalation is premature without attempting to resolve the issue collaboratively. Question 23. A project manager notices that the Agile team is frequently taking on more work than they can realistically complete in a sprint, leading to a constant state of almost done items at the end of each sprint. What Agile concept is most directly being violated? I. Continuous integration. B. Definition of done. C. Sustainable pace. D. Technical excellence. Answer: C. Sustainable pace. The scenario describes a team consistently overcommitting and failing to complete work, resulting in almost done items. This directly violates the Agile principle of sustainable pace, which emphasizes that teams should be able to maintain a constant, steady rate of progress indefinitely, without burning out. Overloading sprints leads to stress, reduces quality, and ultimately hinders long-term productivity and team morale. Adhering to a sustainable pace ensures consistent delivery and allows for continuous improvement and learning. Question 24. A key stakeholder is frequently bypassing the product owner and directly asking development team members for updates on specific features and even suggesting immediate changes. This creates confusion and disrupts the team's focus. What is the most appropriate action for the Scrum Master? I. Facilitate a meeting between the stakeholder, product owner, and development team to clarify communication channels and roles. B. Instruct the development team to politely redirect all inquiries to the product owner. C. Inform the stakeholder that direct communication with the development team is not permitted in Agile. D. Advise the product owner to be more proactive in communicating with this stakeholder to prevent direct team contact. Answer: I. Facilitate a meeting between the stakeholder, product owner, and development team to clarify communication channels and roles. When a stakeholder bypasses the product owner, it undermines the product owner's authority and creates confusion for the development team. The Scrum Master's role is to ensure proper Scrum adoption and protect the team from distractions. The most effective approach is to facilitate a conversation involving the stakeholder, product owner, and development team. This meeting allows for a clear explanation of roles, responsibilities, especially the product owner's role as the single point of contact for product direction, and agreed-upon communication channels, fostering transparency and mutual understanding. Directly instructing the team to redirect or telling the stakeholder, no, can be less collaborative. Question 25. An Agile team has implemented continuous integration, but the project manager observes that critical bugs are still being discovered late in the development cycle, sometimes even after deployment. What aspect of quality assurance in an Agile context should be strengthened? I. Increasing the number of manual testers at the end of the development cycle. B. Shifting testing left by integrating automated testing and quality checks earlier in the development process. C. Implementing a more rigorous change control board to prevent new bugs from being introduced. D. Lengthening the testing phase after all development work is complete for each sprint. Answer: B. Shifting testing left by integrating automated testing and quality checks earlier in the development process. Discovering critical bugs late in the cycle, even with continuous integration, indicates that quality assurance is not sufficiently integrated early enough. In Agile, the emphasis is on shifting left, meaning that testing and quality activities should happen as early and continuously as possible, ideally alongside development. This includes practices like test-driven development, TD, behavior-driven development, BD, pair programming, and extensive automated testing, unit, integration, acceptance, performed by the entire team, not just dedicated testers. This proactive approach catches defects when they are cheaper and easier to fix, ensuring build quality in. Question 26. A PMP candidate is studying for the exam and encounters a question about tailoring an Agile approach for a project. Which of the following factors is least likely to influence the tailoring of an Agile lifecycle? I. Regulatory compliance requirements. B. Organizational culture and readiness for change. C. The political environment of the project's host country. D. The level of uncertainty and complexity of the project. Answer: C. The political environment of the project's host country. Tailoring an Agile approach involves adapting the framework, practices, and governance to fit the specific context of the project and organization. Factors like regulatory compliance, which might mandate specific documentation or approval gates, organizational culture, which impacts adoption and team dynamics, and the project's inherent uncertainty and complexity, which dictates the level of empiricism needed, are all crucial considerations. While the political environment of the host country can impact a project broadly, it is generally less directly influential on the specific choices made in tailoring the Agile lifecycle itself compared to the other options, which directly bear on project execution, governance, and team practices. Question 27. An Agile team is operating effectively, but during the sprint review, stakeholders consistently ask for features that were not part of the current product backlog. The product owner meticulously explains why these items were not included, but stakeholders remain insistent. What is the most effective approach for the project manager, acting as a servant leader, to support the product owner and manage stakeholder expectations? I. Encourage the product owner to include all requested features in the product backlog, even if they are low priority. B. Facilitate a deeper discussion with stakeholders to understand the underlying needs behind their requests and help prioritize them for future sprints. C. Advise the product owner to simply say no to out-of-scope requests during the sprint review. D. Establish a formal change request process for all new stakeholder requests to control scope. Answer: B. Facilitate a deeper discussion with stakeholders to understand the underlying needs behind their requests and help prioritize them for future sprints. Stakeholders consistently requesting new features during a sprint review indicates a potential disconnect in understanding current priorities and the product backlog strategic alignment. While the product owner explains, persistent insistence suggests deeper underlying needs are not being met or understood. The project manager, in a servant leadership role, should facilitate a collaborative session to delve into these underlying needs, clarify the product vision, and help stakeholders understand the prioritization process. This shifts the conversation from demanding specific features to understanding value, enabling the product owner to incorporate these insights into future backlog prioritization and manage expectations transparently, rather than simply deflecting requests. Question 28. A project manager is coaching a new product owner who struggles with decomposing large, epic-level features into smaller, manageable user stories for the development team. This leads to difficulties in estimation and sprint planning. What is the most valuable technique for the Scrum Master to teach the product owner? I. User story mapping. B. Critical path method, CPM. C. Earned value management, EVM. D. Gantt chart creation. Answer: I. User story mapping. The product owner's challenge is breaking down large features into actionable, estimable user stories. User story mapping is an Agile technique specifically designed for this purpose. It helps visualize the entire user journey, identify key activities, and then decompose them into smaller, independent, valuable, and estimable user stories that can be prioritized and delivered incrementally. This visual tool aids in understanding the scope and helps the product owner collaborate with the team to create a practical and effective product backlog. The other options are traditional project management tools not directly focused on Agile story decomposition. Question 29. A large organization is attempting to scale its Agile practices across multiple interdependent teams. They are finding it difficult to maintain alignment and dependencies between teams, leading to integration issues at the end of each program increment. What is a key characteristic of successful scaled Agile frameworks that helps address this challenge? I. Centralized decision-making by a program management office, PMO. B. Fixed scope contracts with external vendors for each team's deliverables. C. Regular, synchronized cadences and cross-team synchronization events. D. Independent, siloed team backlogs managed without cross-team visibility. Answer: C. Regular, synchronized cadences and cross-team synchronization events. When scaling Agile across multiple interdependent teams, maintaining alignment and managing dependencies are crucial. Successful scaled Agile frameworks address this by implementing regular, synchronized cadences, e.g., program increments, planning intervals, and dedicated cross-team synchronization events, e.g., Scrum of Scrums, release train engineer syncs, program increment planning. These events ensure that teams collaboratively plan, identify dependencies, integrate their work, and resolve impediments at a program level, fostering alignment and enabling seamless integration of their combined efforts. Centralized decision-making or siloed backlogs would hinder Agile principles at scale. Question 30. An Agile team has been together for a long time and has developed an unspoken understanding of how they work. However, a new project manager observes that their definition of done is very loose, leading to external stakeholders frequently finding defects in features marked as complete. What should the project manager, as a coach, do first? I. Mandate a new, stricter definition of done that includes all necessary quality checks. B. Facilitate a team workshop to collaboratively redefine and agree upon a comprehensive definition of done. C. Recruit external quality assurance specialists to thoroughly test all completed work before release. D. Explain the importance of meeting deadlines, even if it means compromising on the definition of done. Answer: B. Facilitate a team workshop to collaboratively redefine and agree upon a comprehensive definition of done. A loose definition of done, DODI, is a direct cause of quality issues and unmet stakeholder expectations because it means work isn't truly complete from a quality perspective. The project manager, acting as a coach, should guide the team to collaboratively redefine their DOD. This fosters ownership and ensures that all team members understand and commit to the agreed-upon quality standards, which should include all activities necessary for a feature to be releasable, e.g., testing, documentation, security checks. A collaboratively created DOD is more likely to be adhered to and internalized by the team than one that is simply mandated, promoting commitment and transparency. Question 31. A project manager is overseeing an Agile project where the team is highly self-organizing and capable. However, the external regulatory environment is very strict, requiring extensive documentation and formal approval gates at several points in the project lifecycle. What is the most effective approach for balancing agility with compliance? I. Dismiss the regulatory requirements as incompatible with Agile and seek exemptions. B. Integrate the necessary documentation and approval activities as specific tasks or definition of done criteria within sprints. C. Revert to a purely waterfall approach for the entire project to ensure full compliance. D. Outsource all regulated aspects of the project to a specialized third party. Answer: B. Integrate the necessary documentation and approval activities as specific tasks or definition of done criteria within sprints. Agile does not mean neglecting necessary compliance or documentation. When faced with strict regulatory requirements, the most effective approach is to integrate these activities seamlessly into the Agile workflow. This means treating documentation and approval processes as part of the work required to achieve a definition of done for relevant features or increments. By making compliance activities visible, estimable, and part of the sprint backlog, the team can address them iteratively and continuously, balancing the need for agility with regulatory mandates, rather than sacrificing one for the other. Question 32. An Agile team has identified several significant impediments during their sprint retrospective, but they are struggling to prioritize which ones to address first due to limited time and resources. What guidance should the Scrum Master provide? I. Address the impediments that are easiest to fix to build momentum. B. Prioritize impediments based on their potential impact on value delivery and team productivity. C. Create a separate backlog for impediments and assign them to individual team members to resolve. D. Focus only on the impediments that were caused by external factors, as those are outside the team's control. Answer: B. Prioritize impediments based on their potential impact on value delivery and team productivity. When facing multiple impediments, the most strategic approach is to prioritize them based on their potential impact. The Scrum Master should guide the team to assess which impediments, if resolved, would provide the greatest improvement to value delivery, team productivity, or overall flow. This ensures that the team invests its limited time and resources on issues that yield the most significant benefits, aligning with the Agile principle of maximizing the amount of work not done by focusing on what truly matters. It's about optimizing the system, not just fixing easy problems. Question 33. A new project manager is joining an existing Agile team. During their first week, they notice the team spends a significant portion of their daily Scrum discussing solutions to problems, often engaging in lengthy technical debates. What is the project manager's primary responsibility in this situation, acting as a Scrum master? I. Allow the discussions to continue to foster team collaboration and knowledge sharing. B. Intervene to stop the technical debates and remind the team to take solution discussions offline. C. Document the technical issues raised for later review and resolution by management. D. Implement a strict timer for each team member's update during the daily Scrum. Answer: B. Intervene to stop the technical debates and remind the team to take solution discussions offline. The Daily Scrum is a 15-minute time-boxed event for the development team to inspect progress toward the sprint goal and adapt the sprint backlog. It is explicitly not a problem-solving session. Lengthy technical debates during this event derail its purpose and waste the time of team members not involved in that specific problem. The project manager, in the Scrum Master role, is responsible for ensuring the Daily Scrum stays within its timebox and serves its purpose. The most appropriate action is to gently but firmly intervene, remind the team of the Daily Scrum's purpose, and encourage them to take detailed technical discussions offline immediately after the meeting, involving only the necessary individuals. Question 34. A project team is working in an Agile environment, and the project manager observes that team members are often hesitant to take on challenging tasks, preferring to work on simpler, less impactful items. This leads to a backlog of critical, complex features. What is the most effective way to foster a culture where the team embraces challenging work? I. Introduce individual performance bonuses for completing difficult tasks. B. Encourage pair programming and mob programming for complex tasks to share knowledge and risk. C. Assign difficult tasks directly to the most senior team members to ensure completion. D. Implement a system where tasks are assigned by the project manager based on skill level. Answer: B. Encourage pair programming and mob programming for complex tasks to share knowledge and risk. When a team is hesitant to take on challenging tasks, it often stems from a fear of failure, lack of confidence, or an absence of shared expertise. Encouraging collaborative practices like pair programming, two developers working on one task, or mob programming, the entire team working on one task, is highly effective. These approaches distribute knowledge, reduce individual risk, foster collective problem solving, and build team capability and confidence over time, making complex work less daunting. This aligns with Agile principles of self-organizing teams and technical excellence, promoting a supportive environment for growth. Question 35. A project is using an Agile approach, and the team regularly conducts sprint reviews. However, stakeholders often provide conflicting feedback or express dissatisfaction with features that were prioritized based on previous discussions. What is the primary issue here, related to the PMBOK's 7th performance domains? I. Team performance domain. Lack of team cohesion and shared understanding. B. Planning performance domain. Ineffective sprint planning and backlog refinement. C. Stakeholder performance domain. Inadequate stakeholder engagement and value definition. D. Delivery performance domain. Failure to deliver working increments. Answer: C. Stakeholder performance domain. Inadequate stakeholder engagement and value definition. Conflicting feedback and dissatisfaction despite prior discussions strongly indicate a breakdown in the stakeholder performance domain. This domain focuses on engaging stakeholders effectively, understanding their needs, expectations, and interests, and ensuring their continuous involvement to build shared understanding and agreement on what constitutes value. If stakeholders are surprised or consistently provide conflicting input, it means their expectations are not being adequately managed, their needs are not fully understood, or the definition of value is not clear and consistently communicated. Improving this domain involves more proactive and continuous engagement with stakeholders to align on value and prioritize accordingly.